Dumb, cool,
weird
podcast. Well, thanks for coming on today. I really wanted to talk to you because it seems like you know a lot about NFTs, right?
I have opinions, or I've had opinions about NFTs.
Okay. Well, I'd like to know
I
would like to know your opinions on it too, because I've heard a lot about NFTs, but I'm not really 100% sure what to think about them myself. So we just wanted to do an episode about it. So.
Yeah, well, I mean, yeah, I'm not an expert by any means. I think they're stupid.
Yeah.
So I have a strong opinion on that end of it.
Yeah.
I definitely understand, how blockchain technology, or at least I kind of understand how it works. And then, that's how they're able to consider NFTs as like worth something, is because they're able to give them a signature through blockchain. But do I think they should have value? No,
of course not.
Yeah,
but they do.
But they do.
We've had dumber things have value.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, I made a lot of money off of Dogecoin when it spiked. So, it had some value to it, and even though it probably doesn't really have, much value. I think Bitcoin and Ethereum has some value to it because I know they use it for certain types of transactions and stuff. But some of these cryptocurrencies that just randomly pop up, I kind of question the validity of them. So.
Yeah, no, and I haven't looked too much into like Dogecoin and the newer ones that came out after Bitcoin came out. Now, Bitcoin, originally, they basically invented blockchain technology, and the other ones, I don't know if they're as secure. But so the only one that it just seems like everybody has jumped on a bandwagon to start creating. But if people think they have value, they have value, and that's all that is, because all money's fake anyways.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, that's true.
It's money was originally invented to have a physical representation of resources and stuff like gold and all the other types of things like land and stuff, and that's why it was originally created, and that's why we have such a problem with inflation now, is because the reserves,
not backed by anything.
Yeah, the money's not backed by any damn thing, and that's a huge fucking problem.
Yeah, it's all based on our belief system. It has as much value as whatever collectively people put into it. Because I can't just decide that money's worth nothing and then go out and get what I want for free. Everybody has to agree that it's nothing and I can have what I want for free.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
I definitely wouldn't want to deal with a barter system, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Imagine having to barter for a cheeseburger.
So, I in my day-to-day life, I do irrigation for a living.
Okay.
But I do that, I work for a company, and then aside from that company, I have a license in it. So aside from that company, I go out and I do work, sometimes on a weekend, I get hit up on apps, and I'll go provide this service for people independently. And that does end up being a bartering system a lot of times. I'll come to someone's house and I got to create what I think my value is and the value of the service that I'm about to provide. And then I got to relate that to what other people are charging. Even though the company I work for has they have a fleet of vehicles and they have lots of employees and overhead that I don't have. I still have to relate the service to be comparable to what other services are charging.
Gotcha.
Makes sense.
So, where do you live at, Eric?
I'm in Texas.
Texas, okay. What part of Texas?
Closer to Dallas.
Closer to Dallas, okay. Yeah, we're over here in Atlanta, so Georgia.
Oh.
So.
Yeah, I was just there last summer.
Oh, cool.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I'm glad you came out and checked us out.
Yeah, it was awesome. Went to Fox Barbecue.
Yeah, Fox Brothers. We got some really good barbecue.
Nice.
Yep.
Yeah, it was awesome.
Oh, good. I'm glad you enjoyed your stay here. Yeah, we're very well known out here for our southern, Georgia barbecue. But I've heard that Texas barbecue is pretty good too.
I've heard it's leaps and bounds above us.
Yeah, I heard it's really good.
Fox Brothers was good. Texas barbecue, they've got. Depends on where your region's from, but everybody's a little bit different. So yeah.
Hey,
I thought Fox Brothers was pretty similar.
I've seen a couple episodes of more than a couple episodes of King of the Hill. So I kind of want to go try some Sugarfoots
Yeah.
myself. So
Yeah.
Although technically, I'm not from Texas. I've lived here for about 10 years.
okay, where are you from originally?
Oklahoma, not far away.
Okay.
Yeah, I traveled through Oklahoma when I was going to Colorado one time. So it's a lot of farmland.
It's a plains.
Yeah. It's you got two major cities, and then everything between them is just basically pastures.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah, I remember it being very flat.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I still love it. I miss it. I would move back in a heartbeat, but
Yeah.
It works out in Texas.
yeah, I mean I got a good job, and then so I moved down here for that. And then my wife got a good job down here, so now we're our kids are almost done with school, so
Yeah.
just kind of stuck here now.
That
Well,
makes perfect sense.
Did I read your profile right? Did it say that you were in jail at one time or prison or something at one time?
Okay, so my podcast, I talk to regular people about the crimes that they've committed.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
So just like your friends, anybody that'll talk to me.
Yeah.
Everybody's
Okay.
committed crimes.
Yep.
So I have committed crimes for sure.
Mhm.
I have, I've been arrested 3 times.
Yep.
I've never spent more than a few hours in jail, but I have been arrested.
Okay.
Most of the time it's for bullshit. Like I don't know about your language there, but
No, we're fine.
Oh, we're good.
Yeah, we're good.
okay. Yeah. When I was really, really young, I would get pulled over because I was poor and couldn't afford tags or registration or anything. And so they'd write me tickets, which I couldn't afford to pay. So then I'd get pulled over again. They'd write me more tickets. And after about the 3rd or 4th time they pull you over for the same thing, they're like, okay, well, you're not learning. And they just haul you off to jail.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Yeah. I mean, I get it. Registration and all that stuff's a lot to keep up with. It can get kind of expensive. So.
Yeah. I'm working at a grocery store and I'm like 18 years old. I don't have money to have my own place and gas and everything else.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. You got to do what you got to do.
Now we have OnlyFans. It's the only way to make money.
Yeah. I was in better shape back then. Maybe it would have worked, but there was hardly any internet. So, but aside from that, I've committed a lot of crimes. It took me a long time to mature.
Yeah.
I've done lots of drugs.
Yeah.
And I accidentally robbed a house one time, and just various things.
I think that's a story to get into if you don't mind. I was like, accidentally rob a house.
So yeah, it was around that same time I got arrested for just not paying. I was about 18. I was working at a grocery store, and a friend of mine who worked at the grocery store with me, he came up to me and he said, "Hey, I know a guy he works for this auction site, and when a bank repossesses a house and they auction off everything inside of it,
Okay.
he said he's giving us early access. Come, if we go out there tonight, we can take whatever we want from this house."
Oh, wow.
And I was like, okay, sweet. He's like, yeah, it's free. We just go in and can get whatever we want. Okay, so we drove out to the house, and I wasn't thinking at the time. I didn't realize that. Okay, I was thinking I was taken from this auction place, which at the same, it was still stealing. I mean, I was stealing either way, but it wasn't dawning on me that I'm stealing. I thought I just had an in.
Mm.
And so, yeah, we drove out to what we thought was the address. It turned out we were at the wrong place anyways, so we did rob an unintended house as well.
Damn.
We knocked on the door. No one answered. Door was locked. It was supposed to be unlocked, but I was like, "Hey, the window's unlocked." So I opened the window, and I can't believe I did it. I could have got shot easily.
Yeah.
Opened a window. I don't remember if I climbed inside or someone else climbed inside, but we opened the front door. Me, my friend, and a different guy who was not even in on the original conversation. We just needed him for his pickup. Yeah, we all went inside. We looked around. It was like, it was a small little house that was kind of tucked behind another house. I think it might have been not necessarily a guest house. It might have been like a pool house or something converted into some cheap rent house. So the guy had a mattress on the floor. He had like some musical equipment and a bunch of books, but I'm pretty sure it was just some college kid,
Yeah.
barely had anything. So we didn't take hardly anything. I did take a keyboard. He had a nice keyboard. I did take that. I eventually sold that for tickets to see Marilyn Manson.
Nice. Sounds like a good
But
time.
it was an accident. It was an accident. We thought we were robbing from a bank, I guess. Turned out it was someone's home. And then the next day, that friend showed up at the grocery store, and he's like, "Hey, how come you guys didn't go by the house?" And we were like, "Oh, we did go by the house."
Oh
It's
God.
the wrong house.
Oh my God. Poor guy who had that house probably came home and he's like, what the fuck?
It's like they stole and I
Yeah.
didn't have anything.
Yeah. There. So he had a copy of Abby Hoffman's book, "Steal This Book," and I did not take it. I regret that. I mean, I feel bad that I took his keyboard,
Mm-hmm.
but I should have taken "Steal This Book" at least.
Mm-hmm.
It says right there on the cover.
Steal
Yeah.
this book. Steal it.
Kill me.
Yeah, Jesus. That's interesting. I think the worst crime I've ever committed is when I was a young kid. I accidentally burned down a chicken house.
Jesus.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
was you like making your own bow and arrows and lighting or firecrackers or what?
Well, what happened was there was this old chicken house behind the place I lived at with my dad. We lived in a really decent neighborhood, and this was over in Dawsonville, Georgia. And I went up in the woods with my buddies. My buddy was a bit of a pyro, so he had like a lighter and some Axe body spray. And we went over to this abandoned chicken house, and my buddy was like, let's put some hay on over here. And I was like, let's put it on that rock. It looked like a rock. We put it on top of it. He sprayed it with the Axe body spray and like lit it up. And the rock caught on fire. Turns out it wasn't a rock. It was actually a piece of old styrofoam.
Oh.
So everything caught on fire, and then it kind of shot up to the top of it like went and like went up and caught the whole fucking place on fire. We ran away, and as we were running away, we heard like fire trucks coming, and we never told anybody that we did that. But yeah, the fire department had to come out there and take care of it, but we never fessed up to it.
I mean, I would just not.
I mean, it doesn't
Yeah.
matter now. The statutes of limitations on that so far, man, that was so long ago. Like, I think this was like 2001, maybe.
Oh yeah, that's gone. They're not worried about that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
that's the worst thing I've
Fun
ever
to play
done.
with fire.
Yeah.
It's always fun to play with fire until fire plays with you.
Yeah.
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 So yeah, my wife was talking about how they don't make like Banaka anymore, like the breath spray.
Yeah.
Everybody just chews gum.
Yeah.
And so I looked it up and I found some online and I ordered a pack. Just I don't even know why. That's just how my mind works. When someone starts talking about a weird toy from whatever, or something weird, I just look it up and oh yeah, sure, I'll get that. So I got a pack of Banaka, and I forgot that it's flammable. So then like once I got that, I ran around my house just like spraying little fireballs at everybody. And that was like a week ago.
Oh, nice.
Oh, nice.
That's funny.
It's pretty good.
Yeah. So it sounds like when you were younger, you kind of came from like your upbringing. You weren't like super rich or anything. You were just kind of like lower middle class or something.
Oh geez, I was probably dirt poor.
Oh,
I mean, yeah, super duper poor.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course. My parents were split up. You know, my dad lives in Kansas. Hardly ever saw him.
Yeah.
Mostly raised by my mother, but I have 5 brothers and sisters
Oh, wow.
wow.
with her. So I mean, yeah, we didn't have any money.
Yeah. My
So, yeah,
dad
moved out at 17.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah, I grew up very middle class. My dad had a really nice. He was he was an electrician, so he made pretty good money.
Yep.
So
Yeah, my dad was an accountant, so made pretty decent
Yeah.
money. And yeah, you know, it is what it is.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I moved out at 17, but I started cleaning up, even though I was still out there causing problems. You know, I went off to college after I'd moved out. I went and got myself into college all on my
Nice.
own. Yeah, that's where I met my wife, and
well,
kept improving a little bit.
well, that happens. You know, like I noticed that like people who come from a background where it's not like they don't have everything in the world, they either become like, you know, they emulate what their parents were, or they kind of like pull themselves up and change. It sounds like you're one of those stories where you changed. You try to make a change for the better.
Yeah.
So I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Fully
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
yeah, it's horrible when you're in those situations, and so that was part of what drove me to do it. I was like, I just can't keep living in this cycle.
Oh.
It's not working out.
It's definitely a better thing. Trying to repeat the cycle just only brings out the worst in future generations.
Yeah, my dad, my grandfather, he grew up during the Great Depression, and he was like dirt poor. And his only way out of that situation is he went into the military, and he developed a lot of wealth after that. I don't know why, but the military kind of helped him like change his life or something like that. And he went from being dirt poor to being a multimillionaire when he died. So,
Yeah, I mean, it gives people structure. I mean, people have different opinions on it. Like, my wife's definitely super against it. You can look at the money that gets spent there and have a definite strong opinions about where and how we should use resources. But I mean, I joined the military, when I was like 19-ish.
Okay.
I don't go around, trying to steal valor or anything, because I didn't do anything in there. All I did was I was in it. I didn't go out and I was never deployed. Nothing crazy ever happened. I don't have a lot of stories from it. So
Same.
But I mean, I can see how it like has it gives people structure, and I did it, and then that was it.
No, I mean, I totally get that. I mean, I joined during peacetime, so same thing. It's like don't really have too many stories, just fun times with friends, and that's
yeah. I mean, I got into shape, like I was saying. OnlyFans back then would have been nice.
Yeah, I used to be 180. Now I'm like 236. I'm like, damn, this could have worked back then.
Yeah.
What branch were you in?
Just the Army.
Just the Army? Okay.
Marine Corps.
Yep.
Yeah.
So maybe I'll be a millionaire by the time I retire and emulate your grandfather's
I think it's
journey.
I think it's going to happen. I mean, all the veterans are coming up with new business ideas, so we're just a little bit behind the curve. We'll figure it out.
So someone sent me or tagged me in the Facebook thing a couple months back, and it was an idea I had for. It was essentially Uber Eats. Like I came up with Uber Eats, but it was a Facebook memory, and I posted it back in like 2009. What if we could just do this? Yeah. And I was describing Uber Eats well before they existed.
That's funny.
It's funny because it's like back in the day, we were like my buddies and I were thinking about the same thing. It's like what if somebody could like, bring us the food?
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to drive to Taco Bell. I want Taco Bell to come to me.
That's what it was. It was a friend posting saying, I really want Taco Bell, but I don't want. And I was like, what about this idea for this service? And I like pitched it on Facebook.
You know what? That might have been the thing that you got stolen. It was like some jackass was like going through. He was like, let's see if I could steal any ideas from people.
Yeah, I swear I've thought of movies well before they came out. Like, I literally thought of vaping. Not that it's the coolest thing, but I went around pitching the idea of vaping. Yeah, like probably 15 years ago. I was like, what? Half the addiction is just the pulling something up to your mouth. What if you had a vapor in there?
That's funny.
It's definitely funny because like I've seen that shit happen in my personal life. I can't think of anything like right now, but there's been those times where I'm like, wait a minute, I think I came up with something similar to that.
Yeah, that's happened.
Yeah.
That happens to me all the time.
It's like that. There's a metaphysical idea about like what about a hive mind where we're all kind of pulling from the same creative juices in the universe. So yeah, you might have thought of vaping or Uber Eats or whatever, but that same tentacle that came down and gave you that idea reached out and touched like 20 other minds during that time period.
Yeah, and then the right person that thought about it was somebody who just had the capital to kind of launch it.
Yeah.
That's really what it comes down to. Is you can have a good idea all day long, but if you don't have the capital to start it, it's hard.
Oh yeah, definitely.
And otherwise, you got to convince.
Or the drive.
Yeah, or the drive, or you gotta convince somebody else to spend their money on you.
Yeah.
That's the hardest
Well,
thing.
that's all I want to be is be an idea man. I just want to sit there and think up the ideas and then have someone else use their money to go do it
Yeah.
and just cut me in.
Yeah. That's legit.
That'd be awesome. I have so many bad ideas, though. I just want to see one of them come true.
Well, me and my regular co-host Scotty, like we bounce ideas off each other all the time. Usually they're just stupid. Sometimes we're just talking about dinosaurs, but like, man, we were pitching movie ideas at each other, and we came up with one that was an idea for a haunted light bright, and so we started writing the script for it. But at the same time, I'm like, I don't want to think about all the words that have to go into this. I just want to pitch the idea to someone else who writes it.
Yeah, I came up with an idea that we should do like a sketch where we go to the Goodwill, get ourselves a couple of really bad suits, like tear them up. He kind of wears like my suit's gonna be more torn up. I'm gonna put powdered sugar under my nose. And I'm just gonna go into like fast food restaurants and make outrageous orders. Like, I need like 500 Happy Meals. And he's just trying to come and get me, and I was like, all right. I'm okay. I want to be 600 cheeseburgers.
So, on NFTs, now as far as like where whoever owns them and how they get started,
Yeah.
I was wondering, like, let's say I wanted to create an NFT.
Yeah.
Can I go out there and I just buy blockchain, like a piece of Bitcoin, and then just say, okay, this piece of Bitcoin, I'm saying this piece of Bitcoin that I own comes with this picture of a dog I drew or whatever, comes with some digital art that I made. 'Cause I mean, I post art and stuff like that as well. So yeah, if I took the logo I made for a podcast and then bought a piece of Bitcoin and said, okay, you can have this piece of Bitcoin and that logo for this money. Is that now an NFT? Because I mean, I have not looked into the group that creates or owns them or files them, but
I mean, I think that's how it works, isn't it? Isn't that how it's supposed to work? Like, it's like I always heard NFTs were just like pieces of artwork that you sell.
I just thought they were doodles.
But they can be clips too.
Yeah.
They can be like I don't know if it was ESPN, but they were selling like old NBA clips. Yeah, like you could just take these highlight reels from Michael Jordan dunking and say, "Oh, this dunk belongs to you."
Jesus, it does sound. I mean, when you talk about it, it does sound like fucking bullshit.
I mean,
it is bullshit.
I mean, most modern art is bullshit. I'm pretty sure there's a conspiracy out there that most modern art is actually developed as a way to to clean money. So, a criminal organization decides to hire a jackass to make them some modern piece of art, and because that thing doesn't have any value, you can set some random value to it.
Yeah.
And then you're like, oh, hi. This piece of art is going to be $20 million. Well, this criminal organization just says, well, you know what? I got $20 million. Let's just funnel it through this guy and then go get it back later.
Well, that's okay. So NFTs are like that, and with the art, and you could be partially right there in the art, but NFTs are like that in a way that like they increase money without actually like having an actual dollar. Like if I have $1 and I want $2, I have to do something to get another dollar. But if I buy a piece of art and then we say that art has gone up in value, even though nothing else happened, it didn't get bigger, nothing changed about it. Its value has gone up. So essentially I have $2 now, or I have $3. And so that's kind of how the NFTs and the art that you're talking about, yeah, they're bullshit. They're just what people say. It's a way for people to grow wealth without actually, because there's only so many dollars out there in existence.
Yeah.
But if I buy NFTs and if I buy art, I can say, well, hey, even though I didn't do anything else, my company didn't make any more money, the stuff I've owned has gained in value. So therefore my wealth has grown.
Yeah.
I see that.
And so it's like another offshore account that people have created. They've created this idea that I have this digital piece of nonsense and it's worth something. And the more people believe it's worth something, the more money they're actually getting, even though nothing has happened.
And that's why I believe that modern art is bullshit.
Yeah, modern art's bullshit. Long story short, modern art is bullshit.
It's all crime.
So I gotta
Yeah.
ask. I like the UFO photo
Yep.
you got in the background there. What's up with that?
That's from the X Files.
Oh yeah,
Oh,
you
Says
like
I want to believe I'm.
yeah you like X Files a good bit.
Oh, I love the X Files.
Yeah,
X Files was great.
yeah. Yeah, we actually had an entire episode where we talked about conspiracy theories and
Yeah.
we talked about alien stuff a good bit in that episode. So it was pretty cool.
Well, I love the idea of aliens.
Mm.
I definitely believe that there's life out there.
Mm-hmm.
Do I scientifically believe we'll ever see it or that it's here already? That I don't know.
I just like to think
That's
of the Men
fair.
in Black.
That's me too.
I just like to think that they're like it's the Men in Black thing. You know, like we don't actually know that they're here.
Hmm.
And they're all just like political refugees from like their home world, and they're just like living amongst us like normal people. But
I mean, yeah, possible. If their technology would be way more advanced. So yeah, they could be hanging out here all day. I mean, either one of you could be an alien. Who knows? I know I'm not.
you see, the problem is, I'm afraid. Like, I can honestly see like when Kay says like, you know, a person's smart, but people are stupid. If you just tell people that there's aliens living among them, they're gonna go crazy. They're not gonna know what to do, and then you're gonna start people like seeing people like going on witch hunts for their their reptilian neighbor.
That's the thing. I think a lot of people would be okay with it, but then I think it's the people I get afraid of are the people that I talk to that say that they don't believe in aliens at all. Like, I wonder how they would react to it. Like, people like me and you and him, we'd probably be like, okay, cool, you know? But then you got people who say they don't believe in it. I wonder how they would really react to something like that, especially if they're really, really religious, you know? That would really shatter a worldview, you know?
Yeah, I honestly think that people who don't believe in aliens and people who are too enthusiastic about aliens are aliens.
Oh yeah.
I'm just kidding. So, you could probably make a convincing argument for that, but like honestly, the thing that I thought was funny is when people were like, "Hey, let's go like attack like Area 51," and I was just thinking like, man, that'd be like really funny to see in the news. But the fact that this guy's like, I just want to go and clap some alien cheeks, I'm just like, damn, you know, this guy, he knows what he wants.
Oh, I loved that Storm at Area 51. I got my son a shirt that says, let's storm
Nice.
Area 51. But yeah, I loved the Naruto runners running around behind the cameras and stuff. It was great.
It's funny. I had a buddy that worked at I had a friend that worked at Area 51 for a little while, and he told me there was no alien shit there. It was just really advanced technology that's like decades, if not like 100 years ahead of what we have here in the
We should
public.
stop talking about this. The U.S. government will want to know why you know this, and then we'll get black bagged, and then I don't want to end up in a funky town somewhere.
Dude, they don't even know who I'm talking about.
That's true, but they'll find a way.
Yeah, I had an associate, a friend of a friend, who I heard the story secondhand, but essentially it's this girl I know does work for the military still, and she's in Nevada, and
she's been in
on the base wherever she's located, they're nothing. It's just regular military base. But she got tasked to run an errand one time to this other site.
Mm-hmm.
When she got there was only like a few cars and like a guard shack, but nothing in sight. And she goes into the guard shack, and then the guard shack's actually like an elevator, and it goes and it took her down below, like a couple stories down, and then she had to be by like whatever package she was delivering. She had to stay under armed guard that night. She wasn't allowed to leave her room. So
turns out it was.
That's all. I mean, it probably was a cheeseburger. I don't know what the package she was delivering.
Oh, thank God the Taco Bell's here.
Yeah. But so, I mean, there's definitely at least a secret bases out there.
Yeah, like I said, my buddy told me it's just really advanced technology that like we've been developing for a long time, you know, and they just test it out. That's basically what he told me. He said he didn't see anything like too crazy. He just said he saw like really advanced tech that human beings can create, you know.
You know what's crazy though is that the Cold War made us develop a bunch of just random pieces of technology so that we could fight the Russians back in the day.
Well, that's what the Roswell crash was. Everybody thinks the Roswell crash was an actual alien spaceship. The cover up was a weather balloon, and they said flying saucer at first, but really what it was is it was a really advanced piece of spy technology we were using to spy on the Russians with. They
Yeah.
just didn't want the Russians to know that we were doing that.
Tell them it was
Yeah,
aliens.
maybe. It definitely was reported out as a craft or something first, so that's how you know like it really wasn't a weather balloon.
Yeah, and well, the thing was, it was declassified in like 1992. That's how I know. That's how I know about it because I looked into it, and it was just a really advanced piece of like technology. It was like a craft that would fly around the Earth, and it would just study nuclear tests from like the Soviet Union, basically.
Yeah.
So, and I guess because of human error, it crashed. And
Which is kind of interesting because it reflects a lot of our other technology.
Yeah.
So a lot of our other military technology that we developed, they say was a lot of it was us over anticipating what the Russians were coming up with. So we just made our stuff what we thought was going to be even better than what the Russians had. So that's why it's like when you see the thing going on in Ukraine right now, like these old Soviet tanks never advanced past a certain point, but you look at American tanks, you're like, oh my God, these things are like these things are like on steroids compared to what the Russians have.
yeah,
And it's just because like we over anticipated what our enemies had.
yeah, that makes sense.
Magnets, how do they work?
I don't know, but you don't ask a doctor or scientist because they're fucking lying. That's
But yeah, so I would bet that the X-Files poster, I would bet that it could make an NFT if it's not already one.
Oh, I bet.
definitely. I'm pretty sure you can make Dragon Ball Z characters NFTs now.
It's probably already been done.
You could probably make a lot
Yeah.
of things NFTs.
Yeah.
Like,
Did that show ever have a good ending to it? Like a good resolution?
No, the last when they revamped it,
Yeah.
they did like a 10th season and like an 11th season. The 11th season was really good. It had lots of those fun episodes that are just like throwaway episodes, but they're just fun.
yeah.
Yeah, I watched it a little bit back when I was a kid in the 90s, and I noticed that they would have an overarching story, but then they'd have the episodes, an episode of the week where they would have like
Yeah.
some kind of creature either being supernatural or science in nature. Yeah, I do remember that. And I remember that being
Yeah, and those were the funnest ones. You know, there's like one where Luke Wilson's playing a vampire or something. It's really fun. I mean, yeah, a lot of interesting ones.
Did they ever have a resolution for the alien stuff?
Oh man, they get way out there. Like they have one whole season, and then the following season, that previous season turned out to be like a fever dream. So I mean, like you don't even know what's going on.
Wasn't there a couple seasons where Mulder just kind of disappears for a while, and then
at the end of the original run, he kind of starts to bounce out from the show. He was moving on, so they do kind of start to have him in fewer and fewer episodes, and he's getting in too deep, so he's just not in every episode. And every now and again, he shows up in a manic state or something.
that must have been when he was doing Californication.
Yeah. I'm in this better show.
Yeah.
I like David Duchovny. He's an awesome actor. I like him because he's autistic, and I'm autistic too. So it's kind of cool seeing an autistic like actor like succeed, like doing his thing, you know.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. My co-host Scott, yeah, we were gonna create this video thing online.
Mhm.
It was just gonna be like a video show where we were gonna do like the sequels that we don't deserve, and we're just gonna pretend like sequels exist to movies and stuff that don't actually have sequels, or maybe even make up movies that never existed and then do the sequels for them. But we're still gonna do this, but I'm gonna put together "Don't Tell Mom the Babysitter's Dead 2," which had David Duchovny in it.
Yeah.
And then I'm just gonna pitch it to him, like we're gonna talk back and forth, like, yeah. So I'm surprised they got David Duchovny to come back, but he's still playing like he's 19 years old. He's obviously aged, etc.
I actually like that movie. It has Christina Applegate in it too.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like it was Christina Applegate's like first big movie like like while she was still doing Married with Children, actually.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So yeah, it was pretty. I only know this in passing because obviously I was like 3 or 4 years old when that movie came out, so I don't really remember it. But yeah, for sure.
Definitely.
Well, I imagine I'm gonna guess I'm about 6, 8 years older than you. I've seen that movie 1,000 times.
Yeah, I was born in '89, so
Okay, yeah, I was born in '80.
no. So you're a first generation millennial, is what they call y'all.
Is that what I like to think I'm on the tail end of Generation X?
Mhm.
But
Technically, the
okay.
starting point for millennials is 1980 or 1981. It's kind of debatable. Even though you guys are considered millennials, I would say y'all probably have more in common with Generation X because I would consider like a millennial like maybe like 87 or 86, like the start of like millennials. I would say.
Yeah. Somewhere
Um,
around there.
some people say that I'm like the quintessential millennial because I
Mm.
grew up during the 90s as a kid, and then high school was in the early 2000s, kind of when internet went from being. I remember the internet being so primitive when it was dial up as a kid to being like super fast when I was in high school. You know,
Yeah,
that was a big
yeah,
jump.
yeah. I got my first cell phone at 18, and yeah, it was just like a Nokia with that stupid ringtone.
Yeah.
You pull the antenna up.
Yep.
I had a pager in high school,
Oh wow.
so I mean,
Yeah, my
I
dad had one
wasn't
of
selling
those.
drugs.
Oh,
I just yeah.
My dad had a pager and a Nextel. I
Hmm.
remember that. I remember my
pager.
dad.
But yeah, when I went to college, they had T1 internet, and it was like, and Napster was a thing right when I was in college, and it was like, yeah, it was like the best thing to be
I
able to
told you,
download
didn't I tell you?
music.
I told you that like
Yeah,
like
they had all the
college campuses had really fast internet
Yeah.
back in the day.
and
like-
people weren't like believing that
Yeah.
until now. We have more information.
Yeah, we had a guest not too long ago, and we were talking about how I was telling him about how like the internet was super fast. It was much faster on the college campuses than it was everywhere else, and he just I don't know. We didn't really get too far with that.
No, we didn't get too far in many of the conversations we were hoping for.
Yeah, but yeah, you
Well,
probably
that's yeah. When I was in college, in the dorms and library and everything else too, everything was T1.
yeah.
Yeah, everybody that was there in the dorms was all like, man, this is way faster than I have at home, or etc. So
It's like what 30, 40 megs is what you were getting with T1.
I don't even know.
Because like right now, like where we're at right now, I get 1,200 megabytes per second. It's like 1.2 gigs, so it's really fast.
Yeah.
My buddy,
I would know.
what were you say?
I was gonna say all I know is that I could download some songs that were also coming from a T1 line in about a minute or two. If it's someone else from a dial-up, it might take me a couple hours.
Yep. You're probably able to do online gaming too back then.
Yeah, but the gaming wasn't that great back then. You know, there wasn't that much that you could do online. I mean, you got more out of like playing poker or chess or something than you did like actual streaming, like a fighting game or something like that.
Yeah, my buddy's dad had a T1 like set up at his house because he worked in IT work, so he got it for free from his company. And when Halo 2 came out in 2004, 2005, we would play the shit out of that game, and because we had such a good connection, it was always fun playing that. Like we were just able to play like, and it was like butter.
Yeah,
how good it was. How it would play. So
the Xbox
I
Live years.
remember getting a lot of DLC, just extra content on games and stuff like that. But not not doing a lot of streaming.
Yeah, streaming wasn't a thing until 2011, I think, is when you
Yeah.
saw like the early beginnings of streaming. And really, it didn't become popular till 2015. That's when I
Makes
remember.
sense.
That's when I remember like streaming becoming like really popular.
Now it's extremely popular. It blew up.
If you would have started streaming back in 2013, 2014, you'd probably be really rich right now. Just anybody who did it.
Probably.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just
Yeah.
I just never did it because I wasn't interested in it. I don't care about it like that. It's not my thing. You know.
Yeah.
And I fell out of games at a certain point. Like, I mean, I used to be a heavy gamer when I was obviously like 12 to maybe early 20s, but yeah, other than that, I stopped keeping track. I still like them, but yeah, now when I get back in, it's more
Well,
nostalgia or just there happens to be something cool.
that's what I
Yeah.
was telling him. I don't really play video games either. Like I just don't enjoy them anymore. They're not fun. Like I don't know. I just don't get that same. It's like with the new Halo game. New Halo Infinite came out recently this past year, and I'm just not really jazzed about it like I was when I was like even a young adult. When I was like in my early 20s, I still liked new video games every once in a while, but now I don't get that excited. You know, someone's like, "Oh, this new game came
Yeah,
out." I'm like, "Cool. I'm gonna go do something else." you know.
some of them look cool. They look cool. I would say like I like Star Wars, and yeah, that the Last Jedi or whatever it was, the last game they came out with
Oh.
looked really cool. I heard it was really good, and yeah, I just don't have 20 hours to sit down and focus in on that story.
Yeah, I'm more interested in building wealth and like kind of a future for myself. I want to have like I don't know. Anytime I try to sit down and play a video game, I feel like I'm wasting my time, and I feel like I should be putting more time into trying to build some kind of I don't know what's the word I'm looking for. I'm trying to build a basically passive income to the point where I don't
Yeah.
have to do shit anymore. You know, if I want to go
Yeah.
travel the world, I can go do that. Like I'm more interested in traveling the world than I am actually playing video games. You know,
Dude.
that sounds more fun to
Yeah.
me.
Well, it's kind of like how we were having the conversation earlier about superhero movies, right? It's
Yeah.
like everybody gets consumed by superhero movies, and a lot of that media that comes out is just kind of just regurgitated garbage. You know, it's the same thing over and over again.
Yeah.
You know, I stopped wanting to watch movies because I feel like I'm more of a movie guy. I don't like playing video games really, so watching movies is more my thing. And now I don't really feel like I like watching movies. Like sometimes you'll notice real quick, you're like, oh, this show is trash, or this movie is like, I'm just gonna turn it off because I'm wasting my time here.
Well, that's why I go for a more independent movie. Like I like, you know, have you ever heard of the company A24? They make pretty good.
I have,
They
yeah.
make pretty good movies. You know, they're really independent films. I don't really
I
like.
I would say I'm hit and miss on A24. I
Yeah.
like some I don't.
Mm,
I think
Yeah.
that's
I
with
mean, everybody
everything.
loved Hereditary, but I didn't. Yeah, I didn't. I did not care for Hereditary.
that's fair. Um, I think what I mean is what I like about a lot of these A24 movies is they're pretty like unique, I guess, in a lot of ways. Like it's like when I go watch an A24 movie, I know it's not going to be another superhero movie about
Yeah,
superhero X and superhero Y and their little journey that they're going on that I've heard literally millions of times. You know, like
yeah, yeah. No, you're
mm,
right.
mm,
A24 does make some quality stuff,
mm,
and
mm,
yeah, if you're looking for good stuff out there, if you don't find something independent that just a good
yeah,
indie director or somebody
yeah,
made, then this is it. It's the go-to for your like bigger budget,
yeah.
but still, yeah, more indie field or something like that.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, I feel like that's the problem with a lot of. See, the thing I really love the golden and silver age of Hollywood because, like, you'd see some really interesting movies just randomly pop up from some unknown people that were really good movies. Like, you know, the 60s had a lot of really good
Yeah,
movies like that. You know, the 70s did too. And something I really fully appreciate about the 80s and the 90s too is they had a lot of stuff like that. You know, the 90s is where Kevin Smith came out with Clerks, and you know Richard
Yeah.
Linklater came out with you know his movie fucking Dazed and Confused. You
yeah,
know?
that's it.
So it's like I love shit like that. I love when I watch a filmmaker that I really like. I'll usually go back and watch their first movie just to see what where their passions come from, what they really like, what they really liked, and why they got started doing what they do. Because that's where you find the soul of somebody. It's better than trying to watch like their newest movie that you
Yeah.
can tell that the studio was like, all right, time to make another movie, and they're like, oh god damn it, and then they just make another movie because they have to stay
Yeah.
relevant. You know, hate it.
So when I first moved out, I'm a huge cinephile,
Mm.
and when I first moved out, like I didn't go to the movies a lot when I was a kid, but I love going to the theater. I think it's great. It's like church to me. Yeah, it's like I feel like I'm in a better place once I get there.
Yeah.
And so I would try to go to the movies every weekend. I mean, no matter what was out, I saw freaking Chicken Run in theaters. I mean, I saw
I remember
so
that
much
movie.
garbage in theaters, but I also saw like every big release from like probably 97 to 2005 in theaters because I was going to the movies so often.
Mm.
So I have a photo album where I used to collect all my movie stubs and my concert stubs. But yeah,
Nice.
so I've got like my ticket stub for when I saw Gone Fishing with Danny DeVito
I love
or
that
not Danny
movie.
DeVito,
And Joe Pesci.
Joe Pesci and
Yeah.
yeah, Joe Pesci.
I actually really like that movie, man. I've heard a lot of people shit on that fucking movie, but it was a, it was a family comedy movie, but you know what? It was still fun to watch.
Yeah. Joe Pesci has a very.
I mean, it had funny parts. Yeah, it had funny parts. I mean, yeah, they're best friends, and they also live in a duplex with their families.
Yeah, and they go down
One
to
of them
Florida.
lives on one side of the duplex. Yeah.
Yeah, they go down to Florida to go fishing, and they end up losing their boat, and all kinds of fucking hijinks ensue. And there's like a mix up with this guy who's like a crook or something. It's like it's a silly movie.
You know what I like is that I've mentioned like three things, like an old movie or an old TV show, and you've got every one of them. Most people have not seen Chicken Run or Gone Fishing, or would even know what I'm talking about.
Chicken Run is fun. It's
Well,
dumb, but it's fun.
The reason why I know what Gone Fishing is, I mean, I saw it later on in life, but when I was a kid in the 90s, I'd go to the video store, and I remember that fucking VHS tape for that movie was Joe Pesci and Danny Glover underwater. And that was like
Yeah.
that was the poster for the movie too. I mean, hell, I saw a lot of movies in theaters when I was a kid because, like, my mom, when she would come around, that was her way of, like, trying to do stuff with me. And my grandmother, who was my dad's mom, would take me to the movies. My dad never really took me and my sister to the movies much, but my mom and my grandmother would. And so I saw a bunch of movies in theaters. One movie I saw in theaters was My Favorite Martian with Christopher Lloyd.
Yep.
That was based off
Yeah,
of the 1950s. Well, actually, that was a 1960s show.
Yep.
And when I was a kid, I didn't realize that the actor in the movie that was the guy's that was the Christopher Lloyd's like buddy, who was also an alien, was actually the original guy that played the Martian in the original show from the 60s. Didn't know that.
Wow.
I didn't realize this when I was a kid, but they actually made a lot of movies in the 90s that were throwback to like the 50s and 60s. Didn't realize it.
Makes so much sense though.
Well, they had nostalgia for it
Yeah.
back in the 90s.
Yeah.
Part of the
Maybe
80s
they're
too.
basically doing the same, or maybe they never stopped doing it because I mean they made Red Dawn like 10 years ago. Now, I mean they're still reaching back and remaking. Yeah, Freddy Krueger was remade, or Nightmare on Elm Street was remade like 2 years ago, and
I think they're just bored of and don't have anything though. Like it was cool in the '90s when you'd get a throwback, but now they're bringing back stuff you don't want.
Well, yeah, they're talking about doing throwback of types of movies from the 90s now.
Really?
Yep.
Please don't.
It's coming, dude. Because they've already done the 80s to
well,
death.
now it's all the they're not reboots, they're like soft reboots or what, where they're basically like you got the new Scream and it's trying to get you a new cast in there and kill off the old cast.
Yep.
Yeah, or they're doing with the Jurassic World stuff where the new one's even going to have all the old cast from the first three movies. So.
Sam Neill and Jeff Goldblum and whatever that chick's name is.
That movie it bothers me.
Laura Dern?
Laura Dern. That's it. What were you going to say, Nick?
I was gonna say the Jurassic Park movies need to stop.
They bother you?
They just bother me. It's like
that they just keep making them?
They just keep making them. It's like like Fast and the Furious movies at this point.
Well, they don't have any more source material because Michael Crichton wrote 2 books. He wrote the original one and Lost World, and those are the only books he wrote. And
they just shit out a 3rd movie, and then they shit out a 4th one, and then now it just keeps going.
Well, it sucks because Michael Crichton was one of the. This is just my opinion, but he's one of the best like sci-fi writers from the 20th century. I'd put him up there with Philip K. Dick and Isaac Asimov and Arthur C. Clarke. His books were really good. Like the Andromeda Strain is a really good book. I mean the movie is really good too. I like the one from the 70s the most. I know they've done remakes of it. I like Ray Bradbury.
I've only read Jurassic Park.
Yeah,
that's the only book I've read of his. I've seen several of his movies, and they didn't make a lot of great versions of of his stories in the movie.
Yeah,
But
Sphere.
I mean,
Sphere was a much better book than it was a movie.
but he's also had some really great stuff out there too. I mean, what was it? The 13th Warriors, Michael Crichton, right? Yeah, I believe that's
Yeah,
Eaters of the Dead.
yeah.
Yeah, and that's a good movie. So.
Mm-hmm.
You know what's a movie they got to bring back?
What's up?
Battlefield Earth.
Oh god, dude. That's so bad.
It's just such a dumb movie, but it's funny because it's like it makes so much sense. So like when it's like it took our capabilities like an hour to defeat the world's military. So I'm like that would make sense.
Before you could even spell your name.
Yeah.
It was just so over the top.
I didn't have a problem with it back then. I mean, I've since realized how awful it is.
Did you see it in theaters?
I did. It was during that time I was seeing everything.
Wow. So that whole plot point of the whole planet just blowing up from one little bomb.
But they had smokestacks on their planet. That's like the thing that pisses me off about it too. It's like you're burning shit here.
I mean, their whatever they were breathing was specifically reactive to radiation. So.
But that's the thing. Did they never do anything radioactive on that planet?
They built machines and they not once blew up.
But not only that, you're literally, if you have a star, that star is hitting your planet with radiation constantly.
That's what I'm saying. It's dumb. Like he made something that sounded kind of plausible, and then it was just like, I just want to make it dumb.
To be fair, fucking L. Ron Hubbard wrote that book in like 1953, I think. So that probably sounded plausible back to people back then because they were like, ooh, science fiction. I mean, dude, I watched a movie from 1955. It was called Angry Red Planet, and they thought, like in that movie, they thought that Mars was 3,000 miles away from the Earth in the movie. I swear to God, I can't make it up.
You know what is actually a good movie, though, from the 50s?
What?
It's The Thing from Another Planet.
That's a good one. Yeah. Also, The Day the Earth Stood Still is really good.
Day the Earth Stood Still.
Yep.
I was just thinking that when you said that.
Or Forbidden Planet. That was a good one too.
Yeah, there was a lot. There's a lot of really good classic movies. I mean, there's also a lot of schlock. That's why otherwise Mystery Science Theater wouldn't exist. But.
Yeah. I mean that around that time period, that was like they call it the first wave of sci-fi explosion, and it was basically just like really, really crazy sci-fi that was just all over the fucking place. You know, like, they think that's where the flying saucer stories came from, is because they had those, movies that talked about flying saucers and stuff, and it's just like, I don't know.
That's what it is.
Yeah, no, it's good stuff. I like, you gotta, like, I just wonder, like, what was going through the minds of the people that, like, were consuming stuff like that. I mean, I showed him a movie not too long ago called Things to Come. It's a movie from the 30s.
Look at all this progress.
There's a part in the movie where, like, towards the end of the movie, basically humanity, like, achieved, like, really great, like, advancement. And, like, this guy's, like, sitting here and he has his hand up like this. He's just, like, looking at the statue and he turns around with his hand like this. And he looks around and he looks at his friend and he goes, "What's all this progress? I hate all this progress. This is too much progress."
All this progress, what good has it ever done for us?
And then the guy's like, "Well, we can do whatever we want and say whatever we want." He goes, "It's too much. It's too much progress." That's like, what?
You know what's crazy is ahead of its time because it was like really reflecting how society would dismantle all of its progress just because some guy like was like, it's too much.
But the funny thing, Eric, it was set in 2035, which is like,
right around the corner.
It's right around the corner.
Well, that's one thing I definitely don't get is when they make a movie, why don't they set it far enough in the future that the movie will not catch? You know, I mean, the original Blade Runner, was supposed to happen in 2019 or something like that.
Yeah.
There were movies in the 90s that had like 2012 as the end of the world, or dystopian future.
I think Back to the Future was the worst one. They thought by 2015 we would have like anti-gravity like technology. It's like, what?
Yeah.
They really thought that? I mean,
from 1980s to 2015, they really thought we were going to go places.
Yeah, they thought. I mean, there's some things
They
never.
didn't have any smartphones.
Yeah, I was about to say they didn't predict smartphones.
Didn't predict anything but the hoverboards, and all we got was the shitty wheelie ones on our college campuses.
Yep. I mean, they kind of know how stuff like that would work. It's called you'd have to use superconductors to get something to hover like that, though.
Yeah.
What were you gonna say?
No, nothing. Sorry,
No,
just had a noise.
I got you.
But yeah, to make something like that though, it requires like a larger power source. They don't have the ability to make a battery that can like be put into like a tiny board that people could use. So yeah.
Not yet. I mean, I don't think we'll see technology like that for hundreds of years, probably.
I don't think it's ever going to be a battery either. I think we're going to have to do something with nuclear energy, because unless we want to destroy our environment by digging up all the lithium we can find.
Well, I don't think we're going to be using lithium batteries in the next 100 years. I think we're going to figure something else out.
I mean, I think we're going to destroy ourselves before we do, though.
I think that technology is probably going to happen somewhere around 2030, maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe an idea of it.
We'll probably just like
2040, we get it.
When I came down here to Texas, I took a job with a company that it was a service company, and I was taking a management position. And we had a bunch of employees that would take vehicles out, and they would. It was a lawn maintenance service, not mowing and stuff. It was product maintenance. You put down chemicals for weeds and stuff like that. So I was like bitching to the upper management within the first couple of years. I was like, we could get rid of these employees with some drones. And once the self-driving cars, self-driving trucks, the drones load up with the product. They fly back and forth on the lawn. They spray it. We don't have to worry about locked gates anymore. Doesn't matter if there's a dog in the backyard. Just zip, zip, zip. It's like, that's the future.
Yep.
I love it.
No one would listen to me, even though I was drawing up prototypes. I was like, did I ever tell you about Uber Eats? And they just were just ignoring me.
He's going on about the Uber Eats again, guys.
Uh-oh. Here comes the Uber Eats again.
And then I was trying to sell them on these digital pieces of art that I made, and they just thought I was crazy.
These NFTs. Throw them out.
They don't make any sense at all.
And now I own 5 NFTs.
So we're at the top of the hour.
Back to the Future 2, there is a drone walking a dog.
Wow. That is true. I do remember that. Damn. I do remember that. But we're at the top of the hour, gentlemen.
Yeah.
Yep. So is there anything you'd like to plug, Eric?
Yeah. My podcast, True Criminals. We talk to regular people about the crimes they've committed. Usually put out episodes every week, usually around Thursday or Friday. And you can check us out at true.criminals.podcast, or you can email us at truecriminalsjailpod@gmail.com. If anybody out there even wants to be interested in being a guest, or has a story that they want to share, if you've committed a crime, you threw a rock through a window when you were 12 on a dare, write me an email, tell me about it. So
nice.
Yeah, definitely check out the show. We had one guy on there a few weeks ago who did admit to, he implied heavily a murder.
Oh boy.
Oh, Jesus.
Good Lord.
It was a heavy one. So, but most of it's just shoplifting and running from the cops at a high school party.
Yeah.
And then there's murder. Just the illusion of
murder. And then
murder.
there's murder.
That's funny. All right, well, we'll be sure to put your links down here in the description if you want to check out Eric and his podcast. We're going to have all his information down below. It should be pretty cool. Good to look into. Check out our website, www.dumbcoolweird.com, and be sure to like, subscribe, and comment, and check out for our merch so we don't have to start up our OnlyFans ever again. We don't want to do that.
Nope.
And check out our audio-only podcast on our Linktree account. And you can also find our social media and how to support us.
All right.
And so, you want to sign us out?
Stay sexy, Atlanta.
Boom. Thanks for checking out the Dumb Cool Weird podcast. Go to our website, www.dumbcoolweird.com, to check out our merch and all our social media links. If you want to check out how to support us and our audio podcasts only, and an access to our website and all of our other links for our social media, go to linktree.com, which has Dumb Cool Weird podcast. The link is up below. Hope you guys will check us out. We have new content coming out every single Monday. We have new content coming out every single day. Check it for 9 a.m. Clips, reactions, whatever. We got it coming for you. Hope you come out, check it out. Stay sexy, Atlanta, and keep watching our crap.